viewers, yes, this is Ranjana ma'am and you are watching, yes, mine as well as your channel. So this part, today it's Atithi part 2, you all must have seen it in the thumbnail. Last year I was supposed to upload it, but due to some reason or the other, you all know why, I could not upload it. And procrastination, tomorrow and tomorrow. So finally this year again I am getting requests for the second part to be completed. So here I am, but you know, before I start, I would request you to like the video if you all like it, but I am sure you'll do, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So without wasting any more time, let's start. So we had left Tarapad or Atithi in the third section, third part. So we will resume from the fourth part. So perhaps all of you are aware, Atithi is a short story written by the famous poet laureate Rabindranath Tagore. And the meaning of Atithi you all are by now aware, it means guest. In Hindi also it is the same term as in Bengali. Atithi, in Bengali we say Otithi, in Hindi it's Atithi, and the meaning or the synonym in English is guest. Okay, so let's resume. Tarapad took no notice of Nandigram when they passed it. Why is this said? Because Tarapad was supposed to get down at Nandigram. He had asked lift for Nandigram, but he had got quite attached to the family, and that is why when Nandigram passed by, instead of getting down there, he just took no notice. This is his nature. He gets to some place, he stays there with the people for some time, and then after that he leaves the place and goes away. So no bond can attach him permanently. The large boat, sometimes with its sails up, sometimes stowed, proceeded slowly on down rivers and tributaries, and the days of the passengers too flowed with a soft and easy pace through the peace and beauty of the scene. No one was in any kind of hurry. Long afternoons were spent bathing and eating, and as soon as dusk fell, the boat was moved by a village ghat, by trees buzzing with crickets and aglow with fireflies. So the boat resumes it goes on its journeys. That means it's quite a distance. Their village, Kathalia, is quite far away from the place where they had gone. Motilal Babu, remember, he was the Zamindar of Kathalia, and at this moment they are heading towards Kathalia. So it seems to be a far away place, and that is why the boat all through the day it makes its journey. It passes through beautiful scenic places, and finally when it is evening they don't journey in the night. So at night they move in some village and spend the night there. And what are to be heard? The buzzing of crickets, a small insect, not the cricket which you play, and brightened up with fireflies. So Jugnu in Hindi you say, in Bengali we say Jonaki. After about 10 days of this, the boat arrived. So it's quite a long journey. After 10 days, God knows before also how many days they had journeyed, but from the time Tarapad had got into the boat, it took them 10 days to reach Kathalia. Ponies and a palanquin were sent from the house to receive the Zamindar. After all, it's not an ordinary man reaching home. It's the Zamindar of Kathalia. So what a nice welcome given to him and his family. Ponies means small horses, and the palanquin, which we say palki, were sent from the house to receive the Zamindar. Yeah, the Zamindar has come home to receive him. A guard of honor. How? With bamboo lathis. So lathis made of bamboo. Bamboo is a plant, and when you make lathis with this plant, it's quite a stiff plant. Fired rounds of blanks. Yes, guard of honor with bamboo lathis and also firing. raucously echoed by the village crows. So, who are echoing the sound of the gunshots, blank firing, who are echoing it? The village crows. Meanwhile, Tarapad slipped off the boat and quickly looked around the village, calling one villager Dada, another Khudo, another Didi, another Mashi. He established friendly relations with everyone in a couple of hours. So, the charmer that he was, the enchanted person, the charmer, with his gift of the gab and his charming personality, while they are giving a reception to the zamindar, what does he do? He goes from house to house and makes friends with them. He grows intimate with them. He addresses someone as Dada. Khuda. Khuda means uncle. Father's younger brother is called Khuda. Like you all say Chacha or Chachu in Hindi. This is an old Bengali term. In modern Bengali term, we say Kaka, you all say Chacha. So similar. Hindi speaking people. Sometimes in modern days, in affectionate way, you all say Chachu. Okay, and then Didi, to all of you know what is Didi, the elder sister. And Masi, mother sister is called Masi. This in Hindi also. In Hindi, sometimes some of you call Mausi, and Masi, the mother sister. She can be an elder one, she can be a younger one. So this is how he established relationships with the people. Within a couple of hours, within 2 hours of his reaching Kathalia, he becomes a known face in the village, and the charming person that he is, everyone gets attracted towards him. Because he had no normal ties, he could get to know people with amazing ease and speed. Within a few days, he had won all hearts. So he had become the darling of the village. He had become the most popular person in the village. Everyone, they had given their hearts to him. That means they had started loving this boy. He mixed with everyone on equal terms. He was unconventional, yet able to adapt to any situation or work. With boys, he was a boy, yet somehow separate and special. With older people, he was not a boy, yet not too precocious either. With herders, he was a herder, yet also a Brahmin. So he knows how to mix with people of different types. When he mixed with young boys, he was as if a boy himself. But then also he was not one of them, he was a bit different. And then with elderly people, he behaved in a mature manner, but he didn't show himself to be too advanced for his age. And then with the herders, he was like a herder, and among the Brahmins, he was a Brahmin. He would be chanting in the sweet shop, he would be chatting in the sweet shop. The sweet maker would say, "Could you mind the shop for a while? I shan't be long." So he becomes trustworthy. The people trust him. The shopkeeper gives him the responsibility of looking after his shop for a few seconds when he leaves it. He wouldn't do it with other people. Cool as a cucumber, Tarapad sat there, keeping the flies of the sweetmeats with a leaf. So with a leaf, he tries to drive away the flies that are trying to sit on the sweets. So he is as if doing the job of the shopkeeper. He could even make sweets himself, knew something of weaving, and was not completely ignorant of how to turn a potter's wheel. So he seems to be jack of all trades. He knows each and every art if not very well, but he knows a little of it. So he knows how to turn the potter's wheel. In order to make a pot, he knows of weaving, if not much, but he knows something. And also he knows how to make sweets. How did he gain this knowledge? Most probably in his earlier associations with different type of people. He must have been with a sweetmeat seller and he must have learned. So wherever he goes, he picks up some extra skill. Tarapad reigned over the whole village. There was just one young girl whose hatred he simply could not overcome. So who was this young girl? So everyone, he was a darling. He was the apple's eye of the village. But there was only one person In spite of his efforts, he could not win over that girl, or rather he did, but she wouldn't express it, she wouldn't reveal it. Perhaps it was because this girl so fiercely wished him to leave that he would stay on so long. So most probably, often he would leave his association after 2 to 3 months, wherever he went, whether it was with the Jatra troupe or somewhere. He became the darling of that place, and then when they were trying to get very close to him, he left. But this time, since he had not been able to win the heart of Charulata, or that's what he thought. So it was as if a challenge to him that I have to win her heart. Charushashi, sorry. So that is why he did not leave very soon. But Charushashi now proved how hard it is to fathom even a juvenile female mind. Yeah, but he who had won the hearts of so many people from old to young, but this female, young female, he could not win her heart. He was trying to make an effort, but no. Bamun Thakurun's daughter Shonamoni had been widowed at the age of 5. So she is one neighbor. And Bamun Thakurun, most probably she must, Bamun Thakurun means the widow or the wife of a Brahmin. And many times the cook of the house, when they work in the house of the zamindars or some, so they are called Bamun Thakurun. Like Thakur Moshai. Thakur Moshai is not the person who only prays, offers the prayers to God, but then Thakur Moshai sometimes you call the cook also, head cook of the family. So Bamun Thakurun, the wife of the Bamun, and she had a daughter called Shonamoni. And Shonamoni's tragedy is that when she was 5 years old, she was widowed. So earlier child marriage, maybe married at the age of 3 months, 4 months, 1 year. And when she has reached 5, she becomes a widow. Because in those days, those elderly people, they would come, what a nefarious practice it was. In Bengal, especially. Child marriage and getting married, giving their daughters in marriage, and then this man with so many wives, maybe before having visited this wife only, he must have died. That was a very wicked practice. So she had been widowed, who? Shonamoni. And who is Shonamoni? She is the daughter of Bamun Thakurun. She was Charu's playmate, Charu's friend. She had been ill for a while and had not been able to go out to see her friend. When she recovered and came to see her again, a rift between them came about for almost no reason. So Shonamoni had been ill, so she could not come to Charushashi's house for some days. And when she did come, something happened that resulted in a quarrel. What was it? Charu had been speaking at length about Tarapad. She hoped by saying what a precious asset he was to astonish and intrigue her friend. But when she discovered he was known to Shonamoni, that he called Bamun Thakurun Mashi and that Shonamoni called him Dada, when she heard that he not only treated mother and daughter to kirtan tunes on his flute, but had at Shonamoni's request made her a bamboo flute that he had picked from fruits, from high branches and flowers from thorny ones. When she heard of all this, darts of fire stabbed her. So when Shonamoni came to, finally recovered and came to Charushashi's house, Charushashi wanted to flaunt Tarapad. Oh, you know, we have brought home a young Brahmin boy. He is such a genius and all that. But then she came to know that before she could tell Shonamoni about Tarapad, Shonamoni knew everything about him. Why? Because remember, when the zamindar was being given the reception, he had made friends with everyone in the village. So he used to frequent the house of Bamun Thakurun. He called her Mashi. And to Shonamoni, Shonamoni addressed Tarapad as Dada. So before she could tell them about Tarapad, they had already got to know him. Not only that, he had made a flute for Shonamoni and he would pick fruits and flowers for her. So she becomes jealous, And why? Because she is possessive of Tarapad. She feels that Tarapad is her treasure. It is her asset. Tarapad is her asset. And when she comes to know that no, Tarapad has been in touch with these people, Shonamoni calls him Dada. So, as if angry darts, she feels very jealous. She had thought of Tarapad as their Tarapad, guarded closely, so that ordinary people might glimpse him, yet never be able to grasp him. This is what her feeling was for Tarapad. Tarapad is ours. We have brought him. So, and then she gets to know that Tarapad is not only theirs, but he belongs to the whole village. So, y'all should have a look at him, but no intimate relations. And then she gets to know, no, he is in intimate relationship with each and every member of the village. So, he is not theirs, but he is everybody's. They would admire his beauty and talents from a distance, and Shashi's family would gain glory thereby. This was her motive, that they would look at him, oh my God, he is so handsome, he is such a gifted person, he is so versatile. And then she would feel proud that we have brought him. So she would feel glorious. But no, why should Shonamoni have such easy contact with this singular divinely favored Brahmin boy? So why Shonamoni? He belongs to us. Then why should Shonamoni get to know him? Why should she have a touch of him? If Charu's family had not taken him, had not looked after him, so how would Shonamoni even ever have seen him? Yeah, so my father gave him a lift and we took care of him, we brought him here. So why should Shonamoni be benefited from Tarapad? So she couldn't digest this. She was very possessive. Shonamoni's Dada indeed. Her Dada. From where did this Dada come? Who brought this Dada to the village? She burned all over at the thought. Yeah, this makes her feel very angry. Actually, she is jealous. She did not want to share him with anyone. Why was Charu, who had tried to strike the boy down with arrows of hatred, so anxious to claim sole rights over him? Understand this who will. So she hated, or she tried to show she hated Tarapad. She wanted him to leave. Then why should she be so possessive about him? Understand this who will. Who will understand what is going on inside her? Outwardly she projected as if she hated him. Then why are you so possessive? Why are you bothered when someone else starts liking this person or calls Dada or becomes his favorite? Later that day, Charu had a serious rift with Shonamoni over another trivial matter. So this has made her angry. So later in the day, she fights with Shonamoni for no reason at all. A small matter, and she makes it a big fight. She marched into Tarapad's room, found his beloved flute and callously jumped and stamped in it. And then what does she do? She goes to Tarapad's room and breaks his flute. She was still doing so when Tarapad came in, and she was in the act of breaking it when Tarapad enters. He was amazed by the image of destruction that the girl presented. Yeah, she was stamping on it, standing on it, stamping it, and Tarapad is standing at the door. He's shocked. Why is she behaving in this strange manner? Charu, why are you smashing my flute? He asked. I want to smash it. I'm going to smash it. So she is a spoiled child, pampered child. So she would do whatever she wants. Actually, she is angry because Shonamoni has talked of Tarapad as her brother, Dada, and this has angered her. Shouted Charu with red eyes and flushed face. So she seems to be crying and stamping unnecessarily on the already smashed flute. The flute has already been smashed and still she goes on. She burst into loud sobs and ran from the room. Tarapad picked up the pieces, turned them from this way and that, but it was useless. He tries to see if he could do something to make it work, but no, useless. She has smashed it beyond repair. To wreak destruction on this old innocent flute was so absurd that he burst out laughing. So he feels, why did she vent her anger on this old flute? So he finds it comical and he starts laughing. Charu Shashi intrigued him more every day. So he feels intrigued by Charu Shashi. What type of girl? But he doesn't hate her. He is rather amused by her anger, by her tantrums. He was also intrigued by the English illustrated books in Motilal Babu's library. So he visits Motilal Babu's library and the English books, they fascinate him. Tarapad had considerable knowledge of the world, but he could not enter the world of these pictures at all. Yeah, because this is a foreign language. So though he tries to understand what these books tell, but he couldn't because he didn't know the language. But he is eager to learn. He is eager to learn wherever he goes and he picks up skills. Why? Because he is eager to learn. He knows a little of weaving, he knows a little of sweet making, he knows a little of pottery. So here also he is now interested in learning English because the books fascinate him. But he could not enter the world of these pictures at all. He tried to do so in his imagination. He tries to imagine what could these pictures mean, but found no satisfaction in this. Seeing his interest in these books, Motilal said one day, would you like to learn English? You will understand these pictures. If you want to understand these pictures, you will have to learn the language. Do you want to? Motilal Babu asked Tarapad. I would like to learn it. So he is an eager learner, he replied at once. Motilal Babu happily engaged the headmaster of the village secondary school, Ramratan Babu, to teach the boy English each evening. So Motilal Babu and his wife Annapurna, they are very fond of Tarapad. So when he hears that Tarapad is interested in learning English and being the zamindar, he has control over the village folks. So he orders the headmaster to come and teach Tarapad. Now just see what will happen to Charu Shashi. Tarapad set about learning English with great concentration and retention. So he memorizes whatever he is taught, and when he is taught, he concentrates. Why? Because he is an eager learner. So when you are eager to learn something, you will naturally concentrate. It released him into a hitherto inaccessible realm, unconnected with his former world. So the former world, those jatras and all that, and in comparison, this is the world of learned people. This is the literary world. This is the world of education, knowledge. It really, the local people saw no more of him. Why? Because now he would not roam around the village and make friends. He was engrossed in his study of English. When he went to the empty rivers, the local people saw no more of him. At dusk, dusk means when the day ends and night has not yet begun, that time we call dusk. Twilight, godhuli, different synonyms for dusk. When he went to the empty riverside to pace up swiftly up and down, reciting his lessons, his boyish devotees mournfully watched him from a distance. They dared not disturb his studies. So not only would he study all day, but during dusk he would go to the riverside and he would move from one part of the bank. He would move alongside the bank and try to memorize what he had learned. So the young boys of the village who had become his fans, his followers, his fans, so they would watch him from a distance because they did not have the guts to disturb him. He is seriously doing something. Yeah, he is remembering all that has been taught to him that day. What a serious and devoted student he is. Charu too did not see much of him now. Formerly, Tarapad ate in the women's quarters under Annapurna's loving gaze. But because this could take a long time, he asked Motilal Babu to arrange for him to eat outside them. So earlier he would go to the women's quarters and then Annapurna Devi would sit and feed him with much pamper. But now he did not want to waste any single moment because he felt going to the women's quarters and going there and being pampered and eating, it would take a lot of time. So he requested Motilal Babu, sir, if you can manage that I get my lunch here only, then I wouldn't lose much time. But Annapurna Devi felt hurt. hurt by this and objected, but Motilal Babu was so pleased by Tarapad's keenness to learn that he agreed to the new arrangement. So, two reactions. Motilal Babu is very happy. Why? What a devoted learner he is. So, every father will feel happy, and he was like a father figure to Tarapad. When he sees Tarapad's eagerness for learning, he is very happy. Why? Because it is he who had arranged for Tarapad's English education. Annapurna Devi is not happy, but Motilal Babu is. Charu now insisted that she too wanted to learn English. At first her parents were amused by their wayward daughter's new idea, lovingly laughing at it, but its absurdity was soon washed away by tears. Doting parents that they were forced to give in and started to study, and she started to study alongside Tarapad with the same tutor. So, now she feels, I don't get to see much of Tarapad, he is always confined in his room and he is being taught by the village master, so she becomes jealous, and not only that, she wants his company. So she says, I will also learn English. So first they think it is a child's whim, child's fancy, so they laugh at it, but then she keeps on insisting and she cries. So finally it is arranged that yes, she will also learn with Tarapad. But she is not really interested in in her learning. She is not interested in learning. She just wants to learn, and because Tarapad is learning, and not only that, she wants to disturb him. She wants to grab his attention, which was not possible if she did not learn English from the same master. And that is why she insisted. Study, however, just see this, study, however, was alien to her restless nature. She learned nothing herself, merely disrupted Tarapad's learning. She fell far behind, couldn't learn anything by heart, but she couldn't bear to be behind. If Tarapad overtook her and moved on to a new lesson, she was furious and burst into tears. When he finished an old book and bought a new one, she had to buy the new book too. In his spare time, he would sit in his room learning and writing his lessons. The jealous girl could not stand this. She would secretly come and pour ink on his exercise book, steal his pen, even tear from the book the passage he had been set to learn. So she is only a big disturbance. She is not interested in studies. I told you earlier. Then why does she want that she should also be given lessons? Why only to be near Tarapad? If he is progressing in his studies, she would feel angry. If a new chapter is being taught to her, then she will also insist that she be taught that. And when he would, after his lessons, when he would want to go through it, she would do all sorts of mischiefs. Maybe tear the pages, put ink on his books. Tarapad bore most of this with amusement, so he doesn't get angry. He feels amused. If she went too far, he slapped her, but he was quite unable to control her. So if she crossed limits, then he would give her a slap. But then also he could not control her. She was uncontrollable. Spoiled child. A chance occurrence saved him. One day, truly annoyed, he tore up his ink-spilled exercise book and sat gloomily. Charu came to the door and prepared herself for a beating. But nothing happened. Tarapad went on sitting in silence. The girl went in and out of the room. Several times she came so close that Tarapad could, if only he had wished, easily had thwacked her on the back. But he did not do that and remained solemn. The girl was in a quandary. How to ask for forgiveness was something she had never learned. Yet she was extremely anxious for forgiveness. Finally, seeing no other way, she took a piece of the torn exercise book, sat next to Tarapad and wrote in large round letters, I will never pour ink on your exercise book again. So what happened? One day, he was really very annoyed with Charu Shashi's disturbances, her pouring ink and all that. So he tore up the exercise book and sat sadly. Now Charu knows why he is sitting seriously. So he feels that if I enter the room, he will give me a beating. But she is ready for that. But he doesn't beat her. This is quite unlikely. And then she came inside, she went out, then she came inside. She wanted to say she was sorry, but it was not in her nature. the egoist that she was. So finally, but he kept on ignoring her. He just sat seriously. So what did she do? She did not say, "I'm sorry," but she wrote, "I will never pour ink on your coffee again." She then made elaborate efforts to attract his attention. He is just ignoring. He is indifferent to whatever she is doing. Now she wants to attract his attention. At this, Tarapat could not contain himself anymore and he burst out laughing. The girl dashed from the room, overcome with shame and anger. Only if she had been able to expunge all the time the paper on which she had humbled herself, would her fury have been eased. So what happened? She tried to attract his attention by doing strange things, and finally Tarapat started laughing. And now she realized, oh my God, he is laughing and I have written it on the paper. So she ran out in anger and she felt, if only I had been able to take away that paper on which I had apologized. In a way she had apologized, though she had not said sorry, but she had said she wouldn't do it again. So it was a type of apology. So if only she could have taken it along with her, it would have been better. Why? Because she feels that that is a written document of her feeling sorry. During this period, Shonamoni had once or twice, with her heart in her mouth, lurked outside the lesson room. She was close to her friend Charushashi in most matters, but with regard to Tarapat, she feared and distrusted her. At moments when Charu was in the women's quarters, she would stand timidly outside Tarapat's door. He would look up from his book and say tenderly, "What is it, Shona? What is it? How is Mashi?" So Shonamoni also is not getting his company. Why? Because he is so engrossed in his studies. So she would stand outside his room. But she was friendly with, she was a very good friend of Charushashi, but regarding Tarapat, she knew that if I talked or if I said anything about Tarapat, she would get angry. So what did she do? She did not tell Charu about her visit. So she would stand there. When Tarapat saw her, he would ask politely, "What happened, Shona?" Shonamoni would say, "You haven't been to see us for a long time. Mother wishes you would sometime. She has backache, so she can't come to you." So she is extending an invitation for him to her house. You haven't been there long. Charu would perhaps now appear. Shonamoni was flustered. She felt like a thief. Charu would scowl and shriek at her. "Well, Shona, coming to disturb our studies? I'll tell my father." As if she herself was Tarapat's guardian, whose sole object was to watch him day and night in case his studies was disturbed. But God was not unaware of what her actual motive was in coming to Tarapat's room at this odd time. And Tarapat also knew it well. Why did she come? She would come to catch Shonamoni talking to Tarapat. She wouldn't allow Shonamoni to be close to Tarapat. So she is as if the guardian. "Why are you disturbing our studies? I will go and report it to father." Why? She was also on the lookout. Where is Shonamoni going? Is she going to see Tarapat? Poor Shonamoni fumbled for false explanations. When Charu venomously called her a liar, she withdrew, sick at heart, defeated. So she would try to give excuses why she had come, and Charu would say, "You are a liar." So Shonamoni would leave defeated. The kindly Tarapat would call her and say, "Shona, I'll come to your house this evening." So Tarapat felt bad that Shonamoni is being humbled in such a way, insulted in such a way by Charu. So much to her anger, he would rather tell Shonamoni, "Shona, don't worry, I'll go to your house." And this made Charu all the more angry. Charu hissed back like a snake, "How can you go? What about your lessons? I'll tell the teacher." So how can you go? Don't you have to study? Undaunted by Charu's threat, Tarapat spent a couple of evenings at Bamun Thakurun's house. Why? Only to make Shona comfortable. He goes and visits Bamun Thakurun's house. On the third day, Charu, without further warning, quietly bolted his door and, fetching the padlock from her mother's spice box, locked him in. So on the third day, to stop Tarapat from going to Shonamoni's house, she bolts him from outside his room. She bolts the door from outside so that he would not be able to go. Tarapat, she kept him prisoner the whole evening so that he could not visit Shonamoni. only opening the door when it was time to eat. And when did she open the door? When it was the time for him to eat. Tarapad was angrily silent and was about to go out without eating. Then the passionate, overwrought girl clasped her hands and cried out repeatedly, I promise you, cross my heart, I won't do it again. Please, I beg you, eat before you go. So he was so angry, but he was silent, and he was on the verge of refusing his food and going out. Then she begs forgiveness. Please forgive me, I won't repeat it. When this had no effect, she began to wail, and he was forced to turn back and eat. So even when her apologies had no effect on Tarapad, then she started crying loudly. So poor Tarapad, he had to come back and eat. Almost 2 years. So this is strange. Tarapad stays in this house for 2 years. Tarapad had never moved himself to anyone for so long. Maybe his studies had a hold on him, or maybe he was changing as he grew up, and a stable existence in a comfortable house had more appeal than before. So what could be the reason? One was probably because he was interested in his studies and he was getting it in abundance here, and it could be that since he is maturing, that life of a wanderer was leaving him, and rather he was getting accustomed to this comfortable life. Maybe the beauty of his study companion, maybe Charushashi, who knows? Even if she had been constantly bad-tempered, was exerting an unconscious influence, the third one. So different reasons, one learning, one comfortable life, and the third Charushashi. Her beauty was having an influence on her, though she was bad-tempered. Meanwhile, Charu had reached the age of 11, so an 11-year-old girl, and they think her to be of a marriageable age. Motilal Babu had sought out 2 or 3 good marriage offers. Yeah, he is the zamindar, so good offers will be coming to him. Now that she had reached marriageable age, 11 is a marriageable age in those days, he placed a ban on English books and outside village. Now no more of English books for you, and no more visiting, going out of the house whenever you want. She kicked up a terrible fuss at these new restrictions. No, I am not going to listen. Then one day Annapurna called Motilal and said, why search outside for a groom? Tarapad would make a fine husband and your daughter likes him. So Annapurna gives a nice suggestion. She says, why are you looking for a groom for Charushashi outside? Why don't we think of Tarapad as her groom? Mother's heart, na, mother knows that Charushashi behaves in this manner because she has a liking for Tarapad and she wouldn't show it. Motilal Babu was astonished at the suggestion. That's impossible, he said. We don't know anything about his family. She's my only daughter. So this is natural. What do we know about him? I like him. I have a affection for him. But regarding marriage, this is a different thing. We don't know anything about his family, or I want to marry her well. She's my only daughter. I want to get her married well. Some people came from the Zamindar's house at Raidanga to look at the girl. Efforts were made to dress Charu up. Yeah, so getting her ready for the groom's family to see. Zamindar of Raidanga comes to see if she is suitable for his daughter-in-law. But Charu, she makes such a fuss. She shut herself in her room and refused to come out. Why? Because in her heart she wants to get married to Tarapad only. Motilal Babu begged and rebuked her from outside, but without result. Finally, he had to lie to the delegation from Raidanga. His daughter had suddenly fallen ill and could not be seen today. They assumed from this lame excuse that the girl had some kind of defect. So finally, he goes to the groom's family and says that the delegation, maybe a group of people, family members had come. So he goes and apologizes to them, my daughter is suddenly ill, so you cannot see her today. So now they try to assume that maybe she has some defect, and that is why Motilal Babu goes back at the last moment. Motilal Babu started to reflect that Tarapad was indeed good to look at. So now Annapurna's suggestion starts beating in his mind. So he tries to think of Tarapad as the possible groom. Good looking, good in outward aspect, he could keep him at home, yeah. So he could make him the ghar jamai we say, the son-in-law who stays at home. Why? Because he has been staying in their house for 2 years. So his only daughter would not have to go to someone else's house. What a nice idea. If he gets Charushashi married to Tarapad, he will stay in this house only. So the daughter will also be staying. We don't have to part with our only daughter. What a nice idea. He realized that his truculent daughter's foibles, which he and his wife could smile at, would not be received so well by in-laws. So yes, another reason. His daughter is very ill-tempered, very bad-mannered. So these go well with a parent. With parents, okay. Oh, she is small. But if she goes to her in-laws' house and behaves in this manner, they wouldn't take it nicely. So Tarapad knows her well. He is accustomed to it. After lengthy discussion, Motilal and Annapurna sent a man to Tarapad's village to find out about his family. Information came that it was poor but high caste. So yeah, financially they were not good, but they belonged to a high caste. Maybe they are also Brahmins. Motilal Babu then sent a marriage proposal to the boy's mother and brothers. They were well pleased and agreed to it at once. So then he sends a marriage proposal that I want my daughter. I am the Zamindar of Kathalia and I want to get my daughter married to your son Tarapad. He has been staying in our house. So they are very happy. What more could you ask? They are not very good financially. But back at Kathalia, Motilal and Annapurna discussed the day and hour of the wedding. But the naturally cautious Motilal kept the whole matter secret. So they start preparations, but they keep it a secret. They don't tell Charushashi nor Tarapad. Yeah, especially he is afraid Tarapad might suddenly disappear on hearing the news of the marriage. He might run away. Charu, though, could not be restricted. She sometimes burst into Tarapad's room like a cavalry charge, disturbing his studies with crossness, eagerness or scorn. So Charu continues her troubles. She keeps on troubling Tarapad when he is studying in different manners. Sometimes detached and independent though he was, he felt a strange stirring in his heart at this sort of electrical impulse. Normally, Tarapad was a very detached person, but still, he is also a growing up young boy. So Charushashi is continuously coming and her closeness made him a little more, he got stirred up. An electrical impulse, so he also feels affected. Till now he had floated lightly and serenely without impediment on time stream. Sometimes now he was snared by strange distracting dreams. He would leave his studies and go into Motilal Babu's library and flick through the pages of the illustrated books. The imaginary world which he mixed with these pictures was much changed, much more highly colored than before. So now a change overcomes him. He goes to the library and searches for books, and those books and his thoughts, they form a nice bond, but they are not as it used to be. He could not laugh at Charu's strange behavior quite as he had done in the past. When she was bad, he never thought of beating her now. This deep change, this feeling of powerful feeling of attraction was like a new dream. So he gets attracted towards her. She is growing up, he is growing up, and now when she comes and does all these mischievous things, earlier what he used to do, when she would go cross limits, he would beat her, but no, now he couldn't beat her. He was feeling attracted towards her in spite of her whimsical behavior. Motilal Babu fixed the wedding for the month of Shravan. Shravan is most probably 15th of July to 15th of August. And sent word to Tarapad's mothers and brothers, but he did not inform Tarapad himself. Tarapad was not given any information about the marriage. He told his Mukhtar in Calcutta to hire a trumpet and drum band, and he ordered everything else that would be needed for the wedding. So the mother and the brothers are called, all the necessary things are being done, but Tarapad is not aware of his wedding to Charushashi. Meanwhile, in Kurulkata, on the Nag family estate, a famous chariot festival was due to be held. Chariot festival, the festival Rath, chariot is the Rath, so the Rath Yatra. One moonlit evening, Tarapad went to the ghat and saw on the swift flood tide boats with merry-go-rounds and jatra troops and cargo boats rapidly making for the fair. So he was there at the riverside, and suddenly he sees a group of boats going towards Kurul. What is the name of the place? Kurulkata. So there a jatra troop, and suddenly that old desire for jatra and all those, they creep up. The old desire for wandering, that wandering lust comes back to him. An orchestra from Calcutta was practicing loudly as it passed. The jatra troupe was singing to violin accompaniment, shouting out the beats. Boatmen from lands to the west split the sky with cymbals and thudding drums. So the world of education gets overpowered by the world of orchestra, jatra and all that, and he once again wants to go back to that world. Then excitement, then clouds from the east covered the moon with their huge black sails. An east wind blew sharply, cloud after cloud rolled by, the river gushed and swelled. Darkness thickened in the swaying riverside trees, frogs croaked. A change in weather, a change in the heart of Tarapad in his mind. Now he doesn't want to remain moored in one place. He wants to go and embrace the whole world as he used to do in the past. To Tarapad, the whole world seemed like a chariot festival. Wheels turning, flags flying, earth trembling, there is movement. So he had been static for 2 years, and this movement all around, everywhere he sees movement. So how can he remain still? Winds rushing, river flowing, boats sailing, songs rising, there were rumbles of thunder and slashes of lightning in the sky. The smell of torrential rain approached from the dark distance. But Kathalia village next to the river ignored all this. Kathalia remains unaffected. She shut her doors, turned out her lamps and went to sleep. The people of the village, they shut their doors and turned out their lamps and they went to sleep. And then what happened? The last paragraph, finally, such a big chapter, but very interesting. The following morning, Tarapad's mother and brothers arrived at Kathalia. Why? To take part in the marriage festival of their brother, of her son. And that same morning, 3 large boats from Calcutta, laden with things for the wedding, moved at the Zamindar's ghat. So he had ordered for such things which will be needed for the wedding. So they also arrived. Everywhere the sign of marriage. But he had not told to Tarapad all this. So Tarapad also, without being aware that his marriage date has been fixed and his mother and brothers are coming, he gets fascinated by the jatra and orchestra and all that, and he has already left. And very early that same morning, Shonamoni brought some mango juice preserve in paper and some pickle wrapped in a leaf and timidly stood outside Tarapad's room. Shonamoni comes and stands outside Tarapad's room with some gifts for him. But Tarapad was not to be seen, but he was not in the room. In a cloudy monsoon night, before love and emotional ties could encircle him completely, that means he had left in the night only, when the people had gone to sleep, and he had left in the night, before he gets attached to these bonding relationships. He leaves and goes. This Brahmin boy, thief of all the hearts in the village. So he had stolen the hearts of everyone, and yet he breaks the ties, had returned to the unconstraining, unemotional arms of his mother earth. So he leaves the village and he goes away. The wanderer that he was, so the wanderlust in him prevails over his love for education, his ties or intimacy with the village people. but he is a wanderer and he can throw away all these emotional bondings in a second, and that is why he leaves and goes. So see, he was getting attached, he was getting attracted by the beauty of Charushashi, he was getting attached to her. But when he sees those musical people going towards the Jatra at Kurulkata, so he also feels that let me leave and go away. So he doesn't think twice, and when he gets affected by all this, immediately he leaves. So what a strong character he is, not to be affected by any human bondings. If he could leave his family and go away, and he stays at one place or the other for some months maybe. For the first time he had stayed here for 2 years. So there were several reasons, probably it was education, probably he was getting accustomed to the comfortable life, and probably it was on account of Charushashi. But then still they have no complete or permanent impact on him. And the wanderer that he is, he breaks off all ties and goes back to Mother Earth. So this is the second part, and I have tried to explain to you in a very easy manner. I am sure you have liked it. If you have liked, don't hesitate to give the like, because the likes are so less. And some of my students say, ma'am, you teach so well, but you are underrated. Maybe because I am not so attractive, I think. Anyway, but I feel happy that I have done the job for you all. So bye for the time being. Wait for my next video and keep on writing which are the ones you want from me.